Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and in today's video, man, we are back at it with another Forza Horizon 4 build video, man. We are starting out in that Porsche GT3 RS, man, and what I wanted to do in today's video is take care of another German legend here. Now, what I have in mind is something that pretty much everybody can afford. Maybe not necessarily the build, but the car itself. So what I'm thinking we're going to go with today, I was looking at a couple of the Volkswagens. Now, I haven't done a Volkswagen build on the channel for quite some time. So I was looking through a couple of the cars. Now, I do already own quite a few of these. Damn, that Baja Bug would be pretty cool too. Who wants to see a double cab pickup truck done? Let me know down in the comment section. But what I'm thinking for today's video is we're going to go with that 03 Volkswagen Golf R32. Now, I have raced a couple of these cars in the past with my own vehicles. I think mainly my Nissan Altima. I don't think I got the chance to race any of these cars in my G35. By the way, if you guys want to see videos on either of those cars, check out my regular real-life channel. Link will be down in the description, youtube.com/Denali. But what I was thinking is we'll probably take care of a couple of Volkswagen builds, since I don't think I've done a Volkswagen build on the channel since like Forza Motorsport 6, I'm pretty sure. So we went ahead, bought up the 03 Golf R32. You guys know what comes next, man. We're going to jump into the upgrades and tuning section of the game. And we're going to get started with this one. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this has a, let's see here, a 3.2 liter motor. Now, growing up, I had a couple of friends that did have Volkswagens, and the motor to have in this car has got to be that VR6, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like a 2.8 liter or something like that. Now, unfortunately, they don't have that engine in this game, but nonetheless, the powertrain that does come with these R32s from stock, relatively powerful, to say the least. These cars are very fast from factory. Now, it does have a naturally aspirated 3.2 in it. So what I think we're going to do is go ahead and boost this thing. Now, the supercharger for the Volkswagens was very common with the VR6 motors, but what I think we're going to do with this one is go ahead and drop those twin turb skis on here. Now, we are working with the all-wheel drive system in here. Most Volkswagens front-wheel drive, but the all-wheel drive system in these cars are very nice, so we're going to go ahead and leave that on the car. Now, it looks like we have a few options for bumpers here, so we're just going to skim through a couple, see which one I like. In all honesty, that stock bumper is pretty much, in my opinion, the best looking bumper out of all of these. There's a few that have kind of a little lip on them, but I don't know. They're just too Need for Speed for me. So we're going to go ahead, go with that stock bumper here. As far as the wing goes, we got a couple of lips happening here. I think we're going to go with that. What is this? Oettinger street wing. Just a little lip on there to make things look a little nicer in the rear end. So we do have a couple options. See, that's just like, man, that's just Ricer. Let me know if you guys want to see a Volkswagen Ricer build. This would actually be a great candidate for that. But again, I'm thinking we're just going to stick with that stock rear bumper. Side skirts, again, probably not going to install any of these skirts. Actually, these Oettinger, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, man, but I think that one's going to look pretty good here. Match that rear wing that we got going on here, and of course the hood, that wings west with the Subaru hood scoop on it. Again, I think we're going to go ahead and pass on that one for sure. Now, if this was my car in real life, I would probably go ahead and stick with the stock wheels, man. These wheels are really nice, and if you lower the car just a little bit, fill in that wheel gap, these wheels actually look really good on these cars. But because we are doing a full out build here for YouTube, obviously we're gonna have to go ahead and add something else on this car. So I'm gonna skim through a couple of my wheel options here, let you guys know when I find something that I like. And after skimming through a couple of options, I think I'm going to go with these Rotiform CBUs. Now, the reason I'm going with these, a lot of you guys know, it's very common to put Corvette saw blades on Volkswagens, and that's kind of the look I want to go for on this car. Now, there were a couple nicer options, I'm not going to lie, but I think we're going to go with that traditional Volkswagen stance. I'm going to just skim through a few more here, just make sure that I'm not making a mistake. But yeah, by the looks of it, I'm thinking those saw blades are going to be a nice choice. We're going to go ahead and do a little something as far as the wheel color goes. But of course, first we have to get some stance happening here. Oh, I thought this was my offset, man. Okay, this is the diameter. 18s are going to be good for this car, I think. But I was hoping we could get a little bit of poke on there, stance this thing out a little bit, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that option. So I guess by the looks of it, we're just going to have to keep it moving. Now, we are going to upgrade the clutch on this thing. I'm also going to upgrade the transmission as well as the differential. Now, what this is going to allow me to do is just change the bias, the power bias from the front or the rear of the car. I think we're going to put this a little more to the rear, even though traditionally most Volkswagens are in fact front-wheel drive. I think having a rear-wheel drive bias Golf is going to give us a nice driving feel. So obviously we're going to have to go ahead and stance this bad boy out. Drift springs and dampers. Actually, you know what? We're going to go ahead with the rally springs because in my last video, I did get a nicer drop with the rally springs. We just had to go ahead and adjust a few of the suspension criteria here in order to get that nice drop. And of course, we're going to do a little bit of weight reduction, nothing serious. Battery relocation, remove that spare and a couple of the tools that we have in the car. And of course, for the power, intake and exhaust right off of the bat, the first mod that any car guy should do to their car. Just get a little bit of that free flowing. I've had a lot of luck on my cars just doing intake and exhaust. As far as gas mileage goes, as well as performance, obviously gas mileage not going to be that big of a deal in a video game, but the performance definitely helps. So we've upgraded a few things, the turbochargers as well as the intercooler. I don't want to get too crazy with this build. I still want it to be drivable. And I think with these mods, that's going to be pretty good for what we're trying to do right here. So obviously, we're going to have to jump into the tuning section. Gearing looks pretty good. Alignment, one thing I did want to do is slam and stance this thing all the way. I'm really upset that we couldn't get the offset that I was looking for. But nonetheless, I think we should be able to make this car look pretty decent. So we're going to stiffen up the anti-roll bars just a little bit. As far as the springs go, we're also going to stiffen those up a little, obviously with the rally springs and dampers on here. Things are going to be a little bit soft, a lot of body roll. So we're going to go ahead and make a few adjustments here. And once we get that out of the way, obviously, we're going to have to lower this thing because I want it to be slammed and stanced. I want to be able to put slammed and stanced in the title of this video, as well as maybe twin turbo, just to get maybe a little bit of clickbait. I don't know. It's not really clickbait if you're actually doing it. And we're going to stiffen up the bump stiffness as well as the rebound just a little bit. Actually, quite a bit there. And of course, with the differential, we're going to go ahead and put this to about 80% to the rear wheels. And hopefully that gives us a nice driving dynamic. So now that we got all of that fun stuff out of the way, obviously it's time to get in here and change the designs and the paints, the paints and the designs. What I think we're going to do for this build, I just want to keep it simple, man. I want to go with that factory red, because I really like the red look on these cars. So we're going to go ahead and install that right now. As far as the tint goes, got to black out those windows, man. These cars look really nice with the black tint. Now, the wheel color is really where I want to bring all of this together. Now, I kind of want to do a set of gold wheels here. The copper here being, I guess, the closest that we get. And to be honest, the brush copper is pretty close to what I want. Polish, I think we'll do the semi-gloss, give it a little more, just a little bit more depth. So we'll go ahead and install that right now. And overall, that's pretty good for what I want to do with this car. Keep it nice, keep it simple. I was going to do the hood in a carbon fiber, but I think this look is just so clean that I don't really want to mess with it. But now that we got all that fun stuff out of the way, I'm pretty much ready to take this thing out on the road, see what it can do. Obviously, first and foremost, we're just going to have to do a little 360 on this thing. Now, I wish we had a little more poke out the side. You know, just to stance this thing out just a little bit, but the wheel color in the sunlight almost looks more grayish than it does copper. Dodge Viper getting all up in my business there. But let's take this thing for a rip, see what it can do. Now these things stock very fast, especially in the quarter mile, which is where I have got the opportunity to race one of these things with my old Altima, my automatic Altima, and these things are rippers, man. But let's go ahead and do a little test run here. Are we gonna get the tree going here? Doesn't look like I'm staged correctly. I think that's what the problem is. There we go, boom, and we gone. Now, one thing that I wish they would do in this game is instead of having to actually enter the race, it would be great if you could rip down here and then there was like a sign like we got the speed trap 192 kilometers, but it would be great if you can get your actual quarter mile time, like if there was a screen or something. So just for you Forza Horizon developers that are watching, probably none of them are watching this, but if they are, just a little suggestion there from your boy Don Squally. But overall, this thing very quick in the quarter mile, that all-wheel drive coming in clutch, even though we have that rear-wheel drive biased on it. But let's take this thing out for a rip on the street, really see how it handles. Now keep in mind, we do have the rally springs and dampers, just with some adjustments in the suspension. A little stiffer than it would be if we were to have the drift suspension, or even, I believe, the sport suspension. But this just a very, even though it is twin turbo, literally no turbo lag here. The power delivery is very linear. What do we got over here? A nice little Audi TT. And up here, I think this is going to be a Porsche by the looks of it. But we're going to take this thing out on the twisties here. Looks like one of those guys is actually following me. Got the Porsche following me up here. So all-wheel drive with the rear-wheel drive bias. Really not a whole lot of rear end swinging out there. This thing stays very planted. One of the great things about Volkswagens is just the handling. Not necessarily the fastest, but man, when these things get going on some corners, especially with a nice suspension setup as this car does have, these things just completely haul ass. Now again, the VR6 probably would have been my engine choice. Oh, a little bit of understeer there. Probably would have been my engine of choice, but the 3.2 liter, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the 3.2 is a VR6, but I could be wrong. I'll have to Google that when I get off here, but let me know down in the comments section. But this thing just booking. Oh, and we're causing an accident. Hitting that big old GTO. Was that a GTO? I'm pretty sure that was a GTO. Maybe a Superbird. Yeah, that thing would have absolutely demolished this car, man, in real life. But luckily for myself and you guys watching, this is in fact a video game. So no damage done to our fresh build here. Oh no, why are all these muscle cars out and about? Usually they try to class the AI cars with the car that you're actually using, which is why we're seeing a couple of German vehicles there, the Porsche and the Audi. Here we got another Audi by the looks of it. Not paying attention, driving the hell off-road, Don Squally, man. That is not good. But overall, this car, nothing too crazy. If I had to go back and do this again, the only option that we did have for motor swap, I believe, was a V8 engine swap, 6.2 or something like that. I probably wouldn't have changed the engine, but I probably would max out the motor that we have here. Oh man, this guy's coming back for some of that revenge right now. Probably would have maxed out the engine as far as performance goes, just with the stock engine here, just to give this thing a little bit more of a kick in the ass. But what I think we're gonna do, obviously, as we usually do around this time, is just fast travel back to the city, and of course park this thing up, get our screenshot for our thumbnail here, and probably put an end to this video. But overall, I'm really liking the way that this thing looks. Love the wheels on this. Again, wish we could have got a little more stance on this thing. You know, just to give it a little more slammed in stance appeal. But nonetheless, I think these wheels really suit this car very nicely. Just love the way that it looks with that copper on red. This is what I would do to a Volkswagen if I had one. Obviously, I'm a Nissan guy. Probably will never own a Volkswagen in my life just because I'm too afraid of the repairs that would have to get done. Mind you, my buddy at work has a TDI Jetta, and he was just telling me that thing's got almost 400,000 kilometers on it. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a little bit paranoid when it comes to cars that I'm unsure of. But nonetheless, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button if you guys want to see more. And you are not subscribed yet, definitely do so. That Volkswagen R32, man, looking like a damn gem. But yeah, man, if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to subscribe, stick around. Obviously, with everything going on, there's a lot of people at home, so I'm just hoping I could put out some interesting content for you guys to enjoy while you are on that self-isolation tip. But yeah, man, I'm your boy D Nolly, aka Don Squally. I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and stay safe out there, man. Peace!
Don't die! Oh shit, where you going, bro? Don't be creeping on my friend. Don't be creeping on my friend, you and your homie. Oh, nut shot! Nut shot! Oh, buddy! Let's go. And your boy, man. Get him out of here. Oh, fucking... Oh, my God!